if I told you that most of what we believe about learning and skill mastery is not just wrong, but dangerously misleading? You've been told that practice makes perfect, that if you just put in enough hours, mastery is guaranteed. But what if this mindset is actually holding you back? Today, we're going to flip the script on everything you thought you knew about learning. We'll uncover research-backed methods that will help you learn faster, retain more, and fall in love with the process. This isn't just for athletes or musicians. Whether you're learning how to code, trying to become a better public speaker, or even mastering a physical skill like dancing or martial arts, this video is for you. Stick around, because the final concept we'll explore is the one that most experts ignore, yet it may be the key to everything. Let's jump in. The 3 stages of learning. Let's start by understanding how learning really works. According to Fitz and Posner's model, a foundational theory in psychology, skill acquisition occurs in 3 major stages. First is the cognitive stage. This is when you're just starting out. You're clumsy, you overthink every move. Mistakes are frequent, and progress feels painfully slow. But that's okay. This stage is all about building awareness and forming mental models. It's where you begin mapping out what needs to be done. The second stage is the associative stage. This is where repetition begins to pay off. Movements become smoother. You make fewer mistakes and begin recognizing patterns. The feedback loop tightens. You're not just aware of your mistakes, you're actively correcting them. This is where your brain starts optimizing. The final stage is called the autonomous stage. This is the peak of fluency. At this point, the skill becomes automatic. Your brain offloads conscious control, freeing up cognitive resources for strategy, creativity, or even multitasking. This model is widely used in sports psychology and education and has been supported by decades of empirical studies, including those from the American Psychological Association.
What is deliberate practice? But just understanding these stages isn't enough. You can spend years stuck in the associative stage if you're not practicing the right way. This brings us to deliberate practice, a term popularized by psychologist K. Anders Ericsson. Deliberate practice isn't just repetition. It's goal-directed, feedback-driven, and mentally demanding. Each session has a purpose. You push just beyond your current limits. You focus on improving specific aspects, not just going through the motions. Research from Ericsson and his colleagues, published in the journal Psychological Review, shows that deliberate practice is what separates the expert from the amateur. It's not natural talent, it's not luck, it's structured effort over time. Deliberate practice is hard, it's uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly effective. You're not just learning, you're adapting. You're telling your brain and body to evolve. Gentile's 2 stages and learning under pressure. Another powerful framework comes from motor learning researcher Ann Gentile. She identified 2 essential stages. First, there's getting the idea of the movement. This is about understanding the goal of the task and what successful execution looks like. Second, there's fixation and diversification. Fixation is about consistency, doing the task the same way every time, like a pianist rehearsing a passage until it's perfect. Diversification, on the other hand, is about adaptability, being able to apply the skill in different contexts or under pressure. Why is this so important? Because real-life situations are never perfect. You're rarely in a quiet room with 0 distractions. Gentile's framework reminds us that the ability to adapt, to thrive under pressure or in unfamiliar environments, is a critical part of true mastery. If you're only training for ideal conditions, you're training to fail when reality strikes. The myth of repetition and the power of variability. Now let's talk about one of the most persistent myths in skill development: repetition. You've probably heard that repetition is the mother of skill, and while there's some truth to it, it's dangerously incomplete. Doing the same thing over and over can actually stunt growth. That's because your brain starts to operate on autopilot. Learning plateaus. Instead, we need variability. Changing the conditions of your practice, even slightly, forces your brain to stay engaged. It could be altering your environment, switching up the order of tasks, or even modifying your posture or rhythm. According to research from the Journal of Motor Behavior, variability enhances something called contextual interference. That's a fancy term for mental flexibility. It makes your learning more robust. Think of it like this. If you only ever practiced free throws in silence, how well would you shoot with a crowd yelling in your face?
The constraints-led approach. This is where the constraints-led model comes into play. This theory, grounded in ecological dynamics, says that skill is not just something you build in isolation. It emerges from the interaction between three elements: the individual, the task, and the environment. Let's break that down. The individual includes your physical abilities, motivations, and mental state. The task refers to the rules, tools, or goals of the skill. And the environment is everything external: weather, noise, distractions, social dynamics. Instead of fighting against these constraints, the smartest learners use them. You can tweak any one of these factors to influence your learning. Want to build faster reaction time? Change your environment. Want to improve strategy? Modify the task. This model is supported by research from the University of Queensland and has been applied extensively in high-performance sports training and rehabilitation. Neuroplasticity in motion. Now let's look inside the body. When you're learning a new physical skill, something amazing happens. Your body often stiffens, your joints lock up, and your movements become exaggerated. This isn't failure. It's your nervous system trying to stay in control. Over time, as your neurons begin to fire more efficiently, your movements become smoother. This is neuroplasticity in action. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to rewire itself. It's not just about making new connections, it's about strengthening the right ones. Every time you repeat a movement or solve a problem, your brain refines the neural pathways involved. Studies published in Nature Reviews Neuroscience have shown that focused repetition, paired with feedback and variation, accelerates this rewiring. That's why random practice, not blocked practice, often leads to faster learning in the long term. Emotion, reflection, and the power of teaching. Let's not forget the emotional side of learning. Motivation matters, passion matters, and purpose, it matters most. If you're emotionally connected to why you're learning something, you'll stick with it. This emotional engagement boosts dopamine, a neurochemical linked to focus, memory, and reward. According to Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman, emotional significance literally primes the brain for learning. Also powerful, reflection. Writing in a journal, reviewing your practice sessions, and identifying what worked and what didn't, that's metacognition in action. And teaching? That's the ultimate test. When you teach someone else, you're forced to clarify and organize your thoughts. The Feynman technique, named after physicist Richard Feynman, is built around this idea. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
The role of rest and mirror neurons. You might think that the more time you spend practicing, the better. But rest is just as essential. Sleep isn't just recovery, it's consolidation. That's when your brain takes everything you practiced and begins turning it into long-term memory. A study from Harvard Medical School found that motor skills improve significantly after a full night of sleep compared to an equal amount of waking practice. Another surprising tool? Observation. Watching experts triggers your mirror neuron system, a part of your brain that fires both when you perform an action and when you watch someone else do it. This is why watching a YouTube video of a gymnast or a chess master can actually improve your own skills. It's not passive, it's participatory. You're wiring your brain just by watching excellence. So, what have we learned? Understand the stage of learning you're in. Use deliberate, goal-driven practice. Don't repeat, adapt. Engage your body, your task, and your environment. Reflect often. Teach what you know. And most of all, stay emotionally connected to the process. This is the science of skill. This is how you learn smarter, not harder. Now ask yourself, what skill are you working on right now?
What's one change you can make to your practice routine today? If you found this helpful, hit subscribe and share this video with someone who's on their own learning journey. Drop a comment below and tell us what you're learning and how you're applying these principles. Let's build a community of intentional learners. And don't miss the next episode,